Paul Kagame is a polarizing figure for people that understand history, because everyone's just like, he's amazing. And you're like, I don't know if you know history and how things have been done. The second thing is I want to emphasize that whenever people hear rebel forces, whenever people hear insurgents, whenever people hear terrorists, for a critical thinker, that is meant to be a red flag to say, go research. Go research who said these are rebels, insurgents, terrorists. And these supposed rebels, insurgents, terrorists, who do they represent? Who benefits if they win? Who benefits if they lose? So that you can decide for yourself if this is really a rebel. I mean, Nelson Mandela was a terrorist.
Yes.
The ANC was a terrorist organization. So that's very important. The Inga Dam helps supply electricity to the DRC and
other African countries.
And for people that don't know, there's a project called the Grand Inga Dam that, if it was to be done fully to its completion, can power the entire African continent. Forget ESCOM, which already powers, I don't know how many countries on the continent, but the Grand Inga Dam project, if done properly, I know Remgro and Johan Rupert have invested. I could be mistaken, but I think Cyril and Shanduga and them have a stake. If it could be done properly, it can power the entire African continent. Forget nuclear energy, forget coal. Sorry, my apologies. Please continue.
Very good. And so at Inga Dam were commandos from Uganda and some from Rwanda as well, who wanted to bomb the dam in order to stop electricity in Congo and to make sure that the country goes up in chaos. The Zimbabwean Air Force played a huge part in driving the Ugandans and Rwandans out of that and stop them from bombing the Inga Dam, and then pushing them all the way back from the western part of Congo back into the eastern part of Congo that's closer to their countries.
They wanted to bomb the Inga Dam to stop electricity supply.
Yes.
As an act of terrorism.
As an act of terrorism.
To stop the country from functioning.
Making it ungovernable.
I just want to add a piece there that it becomes a question mark as well, why we have load shedding, why we're struggling with whatever we're struggling with in this country. That could it be acts of what we'd call terrorism, because we're the victims of whatever's happening, and where is it coming from? Who makes money from load shedding? Who makes money from a South Africa that's not functioning? Is this another Inga Dam potential bombing, but it's been done in a more intelligent way? More
intelligent way, yeah. Sabotage.
Yeah.
And what is interesting is that a lot of people have always said the reason why Nelson Mandela did not deploy the SNDF together with Zimbabwe, Namibia, and Angola when SADC deployed is that there are allegations that some of the guys that were giving the weapons to Uganda and Rwanda were actually South African mercenaries from the former SADF who were assisting the rebels on behalf of Western powers and Western countries.
Because they didn't want Kabila to give his people the minerals.
Yes. And because South African companies, particularly at that time, Glencore, controlled a great number of the mining companies that were making money without submitting any taxes by looting Congo because it was not organized. And so it works for them when rebels are operating.
Correct.
So let's now speed this up. So because of this war that disrupted the looting of Congo, that disrupted the ability to remove this leader who had become a problem for the West, Zimbabwe was targeted for sanctions. And that's where you see the first sanctions I told you about in 1999, 2 months before the creation of MDC. You see them stop giving Zimbabwe loans from the IMF, loans from the International Development Association. It was a means to cripple the Zimbabwean army to get it out of Congo. That was one of the objectives. The second objective was to stop land reform. Zimbabwe mustn't get land. And the way they wanted to do this is to pressure the Zimbabwean government by taking away its ability to have money to balance its payments, but more critically to disappoint and to depress the Zimbabwean economy, so much so that when we get to elections in 2000, May, they would have voted the Zimbabwean government out, gotten the new movement of democratic change that was created by NGOs and civil societies like George Soros civil societies to come into power and then reverse everything that the ZANU-PF government was doing.